Hey everybody, welcome to Stay Fishy Friday. We made it another Friday. Wow. Don't mind Jerry, he's not going to talk for a minute. He's over here dying. So we started the show a couple minutes early because I got tired of waiting around. Yeah. So let me get this set up right now. There's my texting. Oh shit, Stephen Conroe's here. I haven't seen him in a while. What's up, Stephen? Damn. If you don't remember Stephen, he's the one that came out here and cut them stands from the Bellagio tanks from 5 foot down to 2 foot and then welded them back together. He worked for like, I don't know, 2 weeks straight on that.
I wasn't here for that.
That was a job, let me tell you.
You been here since then?
Yeah, a couple times.
I probably recognize him if I saw
He was up here a lot, but then all of a sudden he just forgot about us.
I catch a lot of faces and don't hold on to the names too well.
Do you remember ST Aquatics?
Yeah.
That's his channel. That's his.
Oh, okay.
All right, so let me get this finished setting up here. It has been an interesting week, to tell you the least. Let me make sure I've got vocals. Yep, sound's on. It's all good. Minimize this. Get this out of our way. Okay, we can put this up here. All right. This can go there. Boom, I've got my chat. Harley says Steven stopped his YouTube too. Hey, you know, sometimes work takes over and Matt LeMay. Seriously, how much painting did Josh get done? What if the rest of us were helping, Steven? Or I'm sorry, Matt. I mean, Josh had to go. He had to leave. But in this situation, you are correct. He finished painting the whole damn thing. He painted it by himself. I came in and videoed and went back to work in the house.
It's not something you stop in the middle of. Now we're
Right.
working with epoxy.
Yeah, he had, once you mix that together, I think you only had like, I don't know, 30 minutes to get it painted before it starts hardening. Chris Nichols says, hey, Big Rich, I got a question. I have a red devil cichlid. Are June bugs safe for them to eat? They will eat anything in the wild that hits the water. I mean, they will eat anything. I don't see a problem with it. I've never tried, feeding them June bugs before, but
Me either.
I wouldn't see a problem with it. How about you?
No, as long as he can fit it in his mouth.
They'll eat it.
And
They'll
that,
tear it up.
that doesn't always be. Sometimes things that are as big as him.
Yeah.
First, he's got to consider it food.
Well, if it's moving on the top of the water, it's food.
Yeah, yeah. If it's a live June bug, he's going to eat it.
D41 says hair is looking thick. Well, I just got out of the shower. It's all perfect. Corona Aroma says, tanks look, where were you when we needed you? All we had was paint aroma. They could have used some Corona Aroma. Tank looks great. Painted. Things are really moving, you guys. Rescue looks great. Love you guys supporting Laura and Brian. Oh, well, thank you. We keep on trying. We just, so much stuff has been tacked on top of everything to us. It ain't just, Rich watches Tracy, Josh feeds the fish, and Jerry changes the water. It's never like that. It's let's try and get this done. Oh, we can take a break from doing this by doing that over there. And we get tired of that, we can come back to working over here.
Wait a minute, we got to do this first before we can go over there.
All right.
Whatever needs done. And whoever's available to do it.
Tom Jones says, shouldn't bash someone's mom for not allowing them over. That's their decision. I don't know who you're talking to, Tom. I haven't seen anything in here of anybody bashing anybody.
There were some comments about that. Isn't Brock old enough to make his own decisions?
Yeah, but that wasn't on this show. That was,
I know.
He's old enough to make his own decision, but he lives at home, so he's got to listen to her.
Somebody wants to start some drama. Leave him out of it.
We're not here for the drama. We're here for Stay Fishy Friday. Drink up.
Hey, what's the drinking word? I asked you first. So
this is the first time. Let's go with sheesh. I don't know. What do you want to make? You guys come up with the drinking word.
I don't know. We could go for something where we drink a lot, like water, or we could every time water is mentioned.
I see Florida Fish Rescue on here. I swear to God, the last I remembered, we didn't talk to them or something, or they didn't talk to us or something like that.
I know they're on.
Do you remember anything about that? Maybe it's a new one. I don't know. I remember them bashing us for something, and I was just like, we don't even talk about them, you know.
Can you even keep red tails in Florida anymore? Says he's building a 4,000-gallon pond for his 3 red tails. Maybe
well, I would definitely make your filters, not buy them. That's ridiculous. They want such a big price for big filters, and you can make them yourselves out of tubs very easily. I mean, very easily.
Unless somebody going to donate you one. Some of the ones that are out there on the market now are complicated. I mean, you got this little handle to do this with, and geez.
Crazy Eater Gaggle says, hello, Rich and Jerry. Monkey says, hey, Rich, it's my favorite day because of you. Love the live streams. Well, thank you. I had to fight to keep these things going because, Josh was all, and please don't think that I'm putting Josh down. I'm giving you his opinion. Oh, we don't make no money. It's not worth the time. Blah, 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 this and that. We've got more important things to do. I'm like, yeah, but it's the only time I get to hang out with my friends, and I don't get to go out. I don't get to go to bars, It's I don't get to go over my friend's house. I just went over my son's house for the first time since he bought his house, I think 4 years ago. I haven't been over there. I've not been able. I just got to go over there for the first time. That was a fun day.
Well, you can guarantee he's settled in now.
Well, he's settled in. He's trying to show me, he goes, because I see his house, and he's like, well, it used to look like this, and he's showing me pictures of each room and what he's done to it, So he's done a lot of work since he's been there. But, man, I tell you what, talk about a family day. All the kids were there, and they had an Easter egg hunt, and all the kids, we're talking 2 to 7. There was a bunch of them.
Yeah.
And everybody was going, each kid got assigned a certain color. I've never heard of this. Each kid got assigned a certain color eggs. You have to find all the purple ones. You find all the pink ones. But see, they had a number in each one. And when you found them, okay, they had like 10s and 20s in there. I was like, wow, I want to go searching for Easter eggs, right? And then on each color, there's a number in there for a bag. And there was a bag of goodies up here. So each kid got to find their eggs, plus they got this bag of stuff.
Yeah.
There was like an outfit, there was candy, there was all kinds of cool stuff in there.
Yeah, their family always did that because there was so many of us kids.
Right. It was a good fun time, and
the older kids really got to look for their color.
Right. Well, I grew up where everybody go out there, and you had these kids just like piling on to try and get that egg, and it wasn't as good as this. I like this idea.
KC Tropicals.
Okay, fish is a drinking word. Crazy Eater Gaggle said so.
What are we going to be drinking tonight?
KG Tropical says, I have a problem with filamentous algae in my filamentous algae in my planet tank. Can you help get rid of it?
That's what we should make the drinking word, filamentous. If you can pronounce it, drink.
Right. Well, I can't read from that far away, and I'm trying to figure out, All right. There's plenty of chemicals out there to get rid of algae, but you got to watch. You got to really put oxygen in there. I don't suggest using them. I don't like using them. I don't do it. cut out as much as you can and just withdraw it from your system. You can take, your filter offline and then all your fish out and run chlorinated water through there, and it'll clear out that algae stuff and pull out what you can and fill it back up with good water. Save the old water, you can put it back in.
Now he's got it's a planted tank.
Oh yeah, you can't do that on a planted tank.
You got to control it from the start. They need 3 things: phosphates, nitrates, and light.
Phosphates come from excess feeding. What light you can eliminate the light, but then you got your plants in there, so you don't want to do that. Tone down your feeding a lot. Take out physical as much as you can by hand.
Do water changes and eliminate your nitrates.
Right.
Filamentous algae thinks it's a primary plant, but it's not. It'll use up all the ammonia, and the primary plants won't get it.
So without it, your other plants will do better.
Yeah.
Chris Nichols says Big Richie should run for president.
The question back about koi pond.
Nah. Bambi McCluskey says, I love algae, but finally met hair algae. Nope. Tommy81 says, do you know Post Malone? I sure don't. Matt, mate, Big Rich for president. Bambi says, JZ, can you add more plants? Well, that's basically, okay, you're trying to come at it with the thinking that if you use up all the plants, eat up all the nitrates, and then you'll eat, but that's less for all your other plants also. So I mean, that's kind of a hard way to go at it.
Balance the light.
Yeah, keep your light on less during the day, instead of 12 hours on, only keep it on like 8 or so, and that'll help out.
6 to 8 is plenty for a planted tank.
What's this Big Rich for president thing? Anyways, remember I told you guys Skylar wasn't going to be around because she got a new job? Well, that's already changed. She's got another new job. She's working back at the computer place where she used to 5 years ago, and they're paying her good money now, and she's much happier, and she still won't be around, though. Back in the days when she was here and volunteering, she really didn't have a job, Now she has 3. Junior Bender says, love the look of blackbeard algae on driftwood. Yeah, it sure does look good the first time you see it, and that's the last time you want to see it. You can't get rid of it. It's horrid. I had to take my whole 180-gallon down, take everything out, clean it out, wash it off, put it all back in, and I still got some. Had to do the whole process again and take all the live plants out and replant them, and it was a pain. And now, I don't think we got blackbeard algae up there.
No, it's completely gone.
Finally.
It's harder to control than the other algae, but it is beautiful when it's under control.
Yeah. We'll see out in the pond. All that the string algae that starts up in the river, I let go because that eats up everything. And by the time it reaches back to the pond, the pond water's clean and clear. The pond's clean, but the whole bog filter is full of string algae. And then after comes summer starts, I'll just pull all the string algae out and by hand, and we're good to go.
I found a fish that eats that black algae. A little spotted skiffia. It's only about 3/4 of an inch long.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a native fish in Florida, actually, I think.
James Carlson says, and Brock's mom won't let him near OFR. Well, it was causing problems at their home.
There's goes.
It wasn't because of anything that was going on here. It was jealousy between sister and brother type thing, you know. She introduced him over here. She was upset that he's spending so much time over here, and he actually come over and helped a lot. And you know, so then he'd go home, and that's all he'd talk about for a day or two. And you know, him and his sister would argue, and the mother got tired of it and said, "That's it, no
He's
more."
still welcome to, as far as
Oh, he's welcome over all he wants.
We don't need the drama. We'll keep it in their family.
Well, you know, drama sort of follows. You know,
That family, yeah.
stop it, stop it. Lots of different people.
All right. Yeah, lots of different people it does follow, but wow, Tommy 81 Scifia multiple right.
Multi-puncata, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's just a little bitty black bear. It looks like a Dalmatian or one of those
And they love the
little,
algae, huh?
yeah, man, and they're tiny, they're microfish practically. They graze on it constantly. I haven't put any food in that tank for 6-8 weeks. They're just eating on the algae.
Okay, Bucky Donner says, how old is Brock? He's 20 years old, but he still lives at home with mom because he's in college. And, you know, he goes back and forth from college to home. He has to live under her rules. So, I mean, it's none of our business. It's all good.
They're
You know,
paying for college, so
he'll come around. Just, they had to, you know, less problems in the family if she just told him not to come over for a while. That's all. Not a big deal. Florida Vision. So one sibling got what they wanted, and the other one got punished. Pretty much.
All right.
Joseph Tower says, Rich, have you seen certain plecos be aggressive to other fish and tank mates? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Once they find out that they can, you know, enriching themselves by, you know, I'm getting algae or you know, slime off of this fish or whatever, they'll suck on and you know, you're teaching them that that's another source of food, but they're hurting other fish. Like I just had to move the small fly river turtles we got.
Oh yeah.
He's about almost a foot, but man, they had, you know, shell spots all over the shell from sucking on it. And I had to take him out of there. And now he's in the 1,000-gallon by the door, and he's doing so much better.
Two of those big red L66 in the tank with him. Or is it L66 or L something like that? One of them. There's a big red tail. What do they call it? Leopard pleco? Red-tailed leopard?
I don't know.
Oh, they get called all kinds of things, but there are some that are notorious for being aggressive. One of the smallest plecos there is notorious. The little clown pleco. They can be aggressive with everybody and anybody.
I've seen common plecos be just fine, and then I've seen other common plecos be a nuisance. I mean, it just happens of what they learn. If they find out that fish has a slime coat and it's tasty to them, they'll keep doing it.
Yeah.
Then they become a problem.
They
you got to
can
split
rip
them
out
up.
some big chunks too.
Yeah. All right. Chris Nichols says, when did you start the Rescue Big Rich? She's 7 years ago or so. We turned it into a 501c3, but ever since I've been here at this house, which is now 14 years. Oh, it jumped so bad.
Yeah, jump.
Okay, Matt LeMay says, come on, Big Rich. You know Jerry cannot lie. He was there with Abraham Lincoln and George Washington. Jerry cannot tell a lie.
Yes, I was there with them. Damn.
Ah! This is hilarious. Nancy Bill says, I have a weird white algae growing over my very established green algae. What's up with that?
That's not algae. It's actually a micro sponge, courtesy of Lake Tanganyika. It's one of those things that comes in with shipments that you don't expect. It's a freshwater sponge that comes from Lake Tanganyika, and you can wash it off, wipe it off. It doesn't attach hard like algae does. Usually you just wash it off and it goes away. Makes some beautiful patterns on the big tanks. You can see it in some of the videos.
Unfiltered Fish Keeper joined into the chat and said, first thing I hear is he's sucking on it.
Oh yeah, wait, that comment.
We're going to leave that one alone.
Yeah.
Joseph Tower. So plecos are known for being aggressive, but some can be passive. Yeah, it's basically everyone. You can't say common plecos will never do that, because some will, some won't. If once they learn the habit, then they do it. And like flagtails, they're known for going up to the top and sucking the slime layer off the top of the water.
Yeah.
But once they learn they can get slime off of another fish, now they're pestering that fish endlessly and taking that slime coat away, which means that fish is now susceptible to diseases and stuff. So it's a bad thing. But I've got right now, I think we got 4 flagtails, and none of them have done it. But I've had flagtails in the past that did do it. So it's a matter of what they learn. And, especially in a situation where they're hungry all the time, they'll learn ways to get food from different places.
We don't have any problem. We wouldn't have any problem with it in the Bellagio, in the community tank. There's just too many fish in there moving too fast.
Yeah.
Even though the flagtail's a fast fish, there's just too many to choose from.
And let me go back to it. So he goes, so plecos are known for being aggressive, but some can be passive. I'd switch that around. Plecos are generally passive. You have a few types that are known of being mean, but they're generally passive. They can learn to be aggressive. Sean H. Did the alligator go to a zoo? No, he did not, but he went to a sanctuary. A nice place. We're going to do a follow-up and show you the area that he's in. He's got his own pen, his own room, everything. He's doing good. That's why you guys were all freaking, not just you guys, but everybody on the internet was freaking out. You can't keep them there. He'll eat the fish. You can't do this. Give him to Camp Kenan. Give him to, all these other places. I was just like, my God, we pretty much had a place for him to go when we got him in, We just had him for a couple of days for some video, until he got picked up. And man, all these people went hog wild over that. I know for a fact that I can take this alligator from, situation A and take him and put him in my pool, and he will not go after any fish. He was a fat, hefty gator. You know what I'm saying? He had eaten good. He's not starving in the least. Plus the shock of moving him and the shock of being in a new surrounding, he won't go after nothing. He wants to be left alone. In other words, he won't bite you unless you walk in there at him and he's stuck in his corner and you're trying to go at him. Right, self-defense type thing. He don't want to come out after anybody. He wants to be left alone. He's in a new surrounding. He's scared. He's not going to eat any fish. It could have been a month or 2 before he'd start eating if we were trying to feed him. You know what I'm saying? I knew that the fish were safe. Alligator's fine. It's just that I didn't think he'd be able to get out of the pool the way he did. He basically did not want to spend no time in the pool. Soon as we put him in and we turn around and leave, he was gone and out all over the. We had to find him. I don't know, probably 20 different places we found him. He kept getting out. So, but it's wintertime, so the doors were closed. He couldn't get outside. But it's still, it was a hassle. Matt says, if you don't pick on you, there's no love, my brother. Florida Fish Rescue says red tails are banned in Florida. They are being sold and advertised all over Florida. Huh. Dominic says, good to see you. How are you, Rich? I'm doing good. Well, Harley Jim says, I think the Cayman was afraid of my fish. Not really, but, if you get taken out of your job and you get, moved over to another place and go in there and hang out with the guys in there. You're going to work here now. You're going to be really, introverted for a while because you're not going to be yourself. You're not going to, act like that until you get to know everybody, know what's going on. You don't know who's in charge. You don't, the whole thing. Same thing with anything. So I wasn't worried about it, but man, the internet sure freaked out about it. That gator's going to kill all your fish. It's like, oh my God.
Can't blame people for not knowing, but
Yeah,
do a little bit of research before you go on and harp about it.
I'd like to have a little bit of like, I don't know, maybe they trust us a little that we know what we're doing.
Yeah.
Rich wouldn't put him in there if he could bite the
But
fish.
that's, yeah, but why I started thinking like I know what I'm doing is about the time I learn how much I know.
Right. No, I wouldn't have put him in there if I thought any of my fish were in any danger at all.
No.
Lolo Noho says, what would you be doing besides fish keeping? I'll tell you what, if I wasn't doing fish right now and being so involved with this, I'd still be taking care of Tracy, but on my spare time, I'd be taking my car out. I'd be hanging out with my kids and their families and stuff like that. I don't know. I'd be taking my Harley over to my kid's house. Every time Grandpa shows up, it's on another hot rod or a motorcycle or something, I don't have time for any of that. Like I said, this is the first time I've been at my son Richie's house since he bought the place.
Dominique, which fish is the tank?
Which fish is the new tank boss? It's still the hybrid tiger shovelnose. He's still the tank boss.
Big blue eyes. It's not because he's that aggressive, but if you go out, if you go after him, he comes back after you double.
And Unfiltered Fish Keeper says he had an American alligator that lived with an 18-inch common Pleco for 2 years, no issues. You won't have no issues as long as you keep them fed. They're not going to look for food elsewhere. Any big fish, anything that any girth and size is not going to expend the energy to go after something when you're giving them free meals, free steaks, free fillets. They're just going to sit there and wait for their food, and they're going to stay full. And that's that. Why? That's why all the cichlids live in that pool. If I didn't feed them for like 2 months, them cichlids would disappear. They'd find out that, I can feed myself on these guys. Why have a snack when you got a meal? I'm giving them Big Macs and Whoppers. Not really. I'm giving them big fillets of fish. But I'm giving them like a steak instead of a little niblet, a nugget of another little fish. So why would they go waste the time to swim after that, try and catch it when they've got big steaks coming in? There's just no reason.
Nature doesn't waste energy. It takes a lot of energy to hunt.
See you, Bambi.
I'm not going to go waste my money on a hamburger if you're feeding me steak.
Right. Especially you have to chase that hamburger around.
Yeah. Starry Night Cichlid.
Aggressive Fish Lover says, I thought we were going to start planning your super cross track out back. You know what? I don't have an area where I have a bobcat. I can make me jumps and all that kind of stuff. I don't have the area here where I can do that. For one, the neighbors called the police because of the loud dirt bikes. But we can get little mini bikes, like 50s or something, and just have a drunken time out in the backyard and make a nice little path out there. I can't build nothing where it'll impede the water flow. But if there's a hill there and then there's a turn, that's not impeding water flow. You know what I'm saying? So we can do that. Have a little track going around the back pond. And then, you come over Rich's house and there's 8 little 50s sitting there and you sit on them and you're too big for it. It's hilarious to ride them. You fall over, you fall 2 feet. It's no big deal. I think that would be fun.
Yeah, I get myself one of those electric bicycles.
You'll break a hip.
When I get one of those electric bicycles, I ride that thing all over a trail. Neighbors can't bitch. No noise.
Shauna says, how are the adorable tiny Arapaimas? They are just that. They're adorable. Oh my God. You go by them, you look at them, you're just like, oh, you're so cute. You know, they're so adorable. And they're eating like pigs. And
Yeah, I get to feed them every time I walk by.
they're adorable. They're great. I just love all these monster fish babies. They're just adorable. Unfiltered Fish Keeper says, I ring a bell every time I fed him. I chirped every time I pulled him out to handle him. Very docile, like a tired puppy. See, that's what I don't understand, though. In Ohio, all alligators are banned except for dwarf caiman. And everyone in the reptile business knows that caiman are some vicious little bastards.
The dwarf caiman's one of the hardest ones to handle.
They're mean as shit. They want to bite and everything. And I've had American alligators here before, and they are just so docile. You know, you can just reach down, pick them up. They don't even hiss or nothing. You reach over their forehead and you hold their head down and you put just a hair tie on there. You don't have to put tape, just a hair tie on them, and then you're pretty much guaranteed they will not open their mouth. And I used to let mine swim with the kids and everything. So gentile. But no, the only thing allowed is a dwarf caiman now, and they're vicious little bastards. They're quick too. Aggressive Fish Lover says little pit bikes would be amazing. Even the electric ones are fun now. Yeah, any of that would be fun. I mean, we're out back, you know, we're in a small little area. Little bike, go around the corner, too leaned in, you fall right over, you fall a foot. You know.
Jennifer wants to ride on the back of my bike. Made me feel like I'm 12 years old again.
Oh no. Jennifer says, someone get Jerry an electric bike, I'll ride on the back. Wow. Wow.
Thank you, Jerry.
I think Jerry's got someone crush on you.
Oh yeah, it's always been since I had a girl on the back of a bicycle.
Probably 150 years.
Oh, come on.
Well, you were around when Abe Lincoln was young.
Yeah, well, the wooden bicycles were called bone shakers for a reason.
Athro 2022 says, any advice on keeping an Arapaima? I got a 20 by 4 by 4 tank. Okay, wait.
4 by 4 by 20 inches high.
Yeah, what is that? 20 foot by 4 foot by 4 foot? Is that 20 inches by,
we don't know.
4 foot by 4 foot? I don't know what that is, but if it's 20 foot by 4 foot by 4 foot, that's a nice little tank for the Arapaima for a while.
If it's 4 by 4, he's jumping out quick.
Yeah, 24 inches and aggressive on his own at the moment. The bigger he gets,
it's got to be a 20-foot tank.
Yeah, if he's in a 4 foot by 4 foot tall tank, you got to have some sort of covers on there because he will start jumping out soon. When the walls are closing in on an Arapaima, they will start jumping. Same thing with an arowana. That's why everybody that owns a fish tank with an arowana says, my arowana jumps out all the time. He tries jumping out. He's hitting the ceiling. Well, my arowana don't jump because they're in a pool. They never jump. It's when they feel enclosed in, they start jumping. And that's from, like in the rainy season, the river gets, a mile wide. And then, come dry season, it starts drying up and there's left puddles. They're known to jump out and find bigger water. That's what they're trying to do. So
they stay in the puddle till all the fish are gone.
Yeah. But if you keep them in a small enclosure like that, they're going to start jumping. So that's for one. As far as his aggression, he needs more space. I mean, less fish in there or more space, one of the two. I'm sorry. I wish there was a perfect, scenario I could give you to where you could keep it in the tank you've got them in. But the bigger it gets, the worse some problems are going to go. That's all there is to it.
Smallest tank I would recommend to get would be the same size as king size water bed, basically. That still may close in on him. Even with less fish in there, that 4 foot distance, that's not hardly enough for him to turn around. That tank's going to
Well, he's 2 foot. He can turn around. But the problem is He's only growing bigger.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's not going to grow out completely in that tank.
Tracy says, Jerry, are you sure your bones would take it on a bicycle because you are the crypt keeper? She's telling you old as shit. But people only care about you, Jerry. I hope it shows.
Well, how's it go? I may not be able to do everything I used to do, but I can do once anything I used to do.
Even Divergent says at 20 by 4 by 4 will become too small real quick.
Yeah. 20 by 20, you got it made.
Southern English Rose says, can you tell us the story of the famous 9, please? I don't know what that is.
I don't either.
What's the famous 9?
I must be talking to you. I don't have it.
Tracy says Jerry can't ride a bike because when he was a kid, they only had covered wagons. Ah,
Wooden bicycles.
what was the drinking
They're
word?
called bone shakers.
What was the drinking word?
Filamentous.
No.
Water.
No.
What was it? Fish?
Fish. There you go, fish.
Too
We
simple.
said it twice.
Too simple.
And look, I'm empty. I don't know what to do. I'm out. I don't know. I know. Thanks to the Vasquez family, I got my little backup here. Oh, look how nice. Oh my God. And I put it in the refrigerator so the metal got all cold and it's keeping it nice and cold. It's got a rubber bottom to it and it won't slide on the table. I like that. Lamar says, why y'all picking on Jerry? Unfiltered Fish Keeper says, Jerry's bike was slow as hell until the wheel was invented. Oh, I'm loving life here. Divergent says, get Jerry a motorized cooler scooter.
Cooler scooter. Yeah. It's
Oh, I think the famous 9 could be the GATFs and the VATFs. They're all doing great. They're doing amazing. There's 9 of them together in a
that's
tank.
9,
Yes,
yeah, okay.
that could be the famous 9. Yeah, they're doing great. They're eating. They're. I mean, there's no. It don't stop in that tank. It's not stop motion, you know.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing. They're doing great. OBG Foster says fundraising idea: auction off Jerry's beard. How much to shave it off, Jerry?
Oh, I don't know about that.
Tommy81 says, pour me a drink. If you were here, I surely would. Jareth Rasmussen says, when a fish rips its scales off, how long does it take to heal? Different on different fish, but usually, what, a month or so?
Yeah.
You'll see it growing back, and then it'll get longer and longer.
Sometimes you'll be able to see where it was for over a year. But it will eventually.
Nancy says, Jerry knows more than we have forgotten. That man deserves respect.
Thank you, Nancy.
Lamar Kennedy says, what's the largest fish that you have ever rescued? Ooh.
Damn, you're
A
big.
5-foot Arapaima from a zoo that closed down,
Yeah.
and a 600-pound pig at the same time
That's not a fish.
that ate the inside of my.
That's a
my-
fish.
I know, but it ate the inside of my whole van carpeting out. It just destroyed it.
Expensive pig.
Uh-oh. No, it stopped working. This and then this.
Anyway.
Oh, no, it didn't stop working. We're at the end of it.
Oh, that's why I stopped working.
Yeah.
Damn, we're caught up with you people. I've got no super chats yet, though. Jerry the fish doctor. No, I'm afraid not, man. Honestly, That is my short suit.
I mean,
Identifying diseases in the fish has always been kind of, I can tell when they're ill, but what they're ill with and stuff. Part of the thing is, I've always had somebody else that was more experienced than me around to do it. So I'm excellent at research and observation.
okay.
But
Afro 2022 says, I got a 40-foot by 10-foot by 5-foot heated pond. But I got my 4 red tails and 6 alligator gars and a good few red-eared sliders. But I'm petrified of adding him in there. Any advice on adding him in there?
don't.
No. Are they talking about the Arapaima?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I would take and section off a section of that and like put a net up or something. Block it off to where the Arapaima can go in for a few days by himself. For some odd reason, I found that when you add larger fish at nighttime, the other fish all come and like check them out, inspect them, and by daytime, when you go out there in the morning, he's either dead or he's floating with his tail down and his mouth out of the water because these other fish have messed with him all night. So we lost an Arapaima doing that. We added him one in with Brutus and Bruiser, and we put him in there. He was of size. He was 4 foot. Everything was fine. We took him out of our sump out of the inside, and by morning he was gone, and he was fine. There was nothing wrong with him. And we went back and looked on the video, and they just tormented him all night long, chasing him, going after him. So he stressed himself into death. So I would say section it off and let them get to know each other, and then you can let them go a couple days later.
If you want to really make it easy, if you're able to take one of the red tails and 2 of the alligator gar out of there for a night.
Why?
Because it changes the whole structure of the tank.
The rest of them will still investigate.
No, I'm saying not with, and then the next day you put them in along with the Arapaima.
Gotcha.
And that way, with that double change in the structure of the tank,
Yeah.
all you've got is formal introductions. You don't have them ganging up.
Jeff Bean says, you saved a pig along with the fish? Yeah. I sent Reaper, Mark, and John. Okay. The stoner crew, I guess you'd want to call them. And I told them it's supposed to be a potbelly pig, a 200-pound salt-coated tortoise, huge, and a 4-foot Arapaima. Well, the Arapaima turns out to be 5 foot. And on the way back, they were stopping to drop them off. The salt-coated tortoise, we had already found a home for because we didn't have room for it here. And the potbelly pig was going to a petting zoo, okay? And they were so ecstatic on this turtle, coming. And they were taking the potbelly pig. It was, okay, we'll take care of it. And then the Arapaima was on the way back. We stopped at the Electric City public aquarium and dropped it off to them. So, we had everything already positioned. All we had to do is go pick them up from one place that's closed down and then drop them off. Well, I sent these guys out there, and it turns out it wasn't a potbelly pig. It was a full-size pig. This thing was 600 pounds. And Reaper's like, I don't know. It's the middle of the night. I put him in the van. So, what's his name? The painter guy that came out here, Cranky Jason.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
He had to ride in the back with this pig. They had a big tub for the Arapaima, and then they had the sulcata tortoise was fine. He just sit there, he was fine. But the pig, he was, grunting all around and moving his legs, and Jason's like, oh my God. Poor Jason sat there all the way back and just let this damn pig eat my carpeting. He ripped it up off the floor in shreds and just chunking it. I was like, why would you guys do that? You got to be smarter than this. Why would you take it? We don't have provisions for a 600-pound. You put a 600-pound pig in my van. Oh my God, it was ridiculous. But listen, let's see how many people here because it's getting close to time for the Tracy update. When you go over here, down this way, 164.
A little bit.
It's going on 6:42. Usually we're in the first 20 minutes. We're telling Tracy update.
Well, we usually have more people.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead with the Tracy update because it's getting a little late. Somebody mark it down at 6:42. Tracy update.
Time wise. Where is it on the? We don't know.
Well, my time at 6:42, whatever time it is, you guys. But anyways, this week, Tracy and nurses, everybody's gotten along great. Tracy's been doing so good, and she's so much more alert this week. I mean, just today, I walked in the room, started talking to Latrice, and she goes, "Look," and Tracy was just straining to see me. She heard me, so I moved up into view, and I'm like, "I'm right here, honey. I'm right here." And I'm like, "Oh my God, you're gonna be back so soon. You're so aware now. You're always looking for me." And I started rubbing her on the side of her face, and I was like, "Don't worry, honey. As soon as you come back, I'll figure out a way to talk to you." And she gave me that stink face. She's just like, "Ugh." She turned her head. I'm like, "Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to rub the side of your face. You don't like that. I get it." And then I started talking to her, and she turned right back to me. I guess she didn't like me touching her face or something. I don't know, but the nurse laughed at me. So, but no, she's been doing really good. We've got her back on her, what do you want to call it? Schedules, her normalness, for going to the bathroom, changing, doing all. She's right. She's doing really good. She's coughing it up on her own. We don't have to go in and get it. She's doing really, really, really good. But this week, she's been so much more open. And then I've had so many dreams this last 2 weeks of Tracy, And, I come out one time and Tracy's not in bed. And I'm the only one watching her. So I'm like, "Oh my God, where's Tracy?" I'm thinking she fell out of bed. And I look over and she's over on the couch hiding behind the curtain, like shaking. And then I'm like, "Tracy, are you okay?" And she heard my voice and it seemed like she knew me. And she ran up to me, and gave me a big old hug and stuff. And I'm like, "It's okay, honey. It's okay." And this and that. And, that was, I woke up and it wasn't like that. And I was like, "Oh man." And then another dream I had was I'm sitting there at the kitchen table and we're sitting there, we're doing something, but there's a couple people there. We're having fun. And Tracy walked up behind me and started, run her fingers through my hair like she normally did. And I'm just like, "Oh." And I looked up and I'm like, "Dang, woman, I missed you." And she reached out and gave me a kiss. And I'm just like, "Oh man, life is good. I'm so glad to have you back. You don't understand how hard it was, blah, blah, blah." And then I wake up and she's still in her bed. And I was so just disappointed. I mean, I was almost in tears talking to the nurse about it. It was such a great, just beautiful dream. I mean, she was just back to her old normal self. And man, it just shows, I just missed her so much. But she is coming around more and more. OG Foster says, "Can you show a video of her responding to you to the doctor?" Yeah, but the doctor has to be the one that asks her, "Tracy, look to the left," or "Tracy, open your eyes," or "Tracy, blink," or "Tracy, squeeze my hand." And she has to follow his commands for her to move into the next. Right now, she's in a vegetative state. And to move out of that, she's not allowed certain programs. Once we move her out of that and she's into the next state of minimally conscious, then she'll get more of like not a personal trainer. What's that called? People work with you. Physical therapy. She's open to that program, and that's the one I want. I want physical therapy here, working with her. So it's we're stuck in this time loop right now, but we'll get past it. She's moving more things and doing more things, which makes it harder because she used to just cough and just lay there. Now when she coughs, her knees come up to her chest. She flings the sheets off. The thing comes off her finger. She's so violent. Yeah. She's just so violent now. But, she's moving so much more. She's so much more, responsive now. Arlie Gem says, well, okay, we're still on the Tracy thing, but to me, and no meanness intended, but I think Skylar's mom is playing favorites because of Skylar's heel scare, but we don't live there and don't know the history, so just guesses. Well, basically, if you want to stop trouble, you stop it at the source. And if there's trouble between the two siblings and it's causing the mother stress, don't go over there no more. And then she don't have to hear it no more. That's how I'm taking it, you know. Because she has absolutely nothing to be mad at us for or anything, and it's causing problems back there, you know.
That right hand swings over here again. I'm gonna go get my ugly stick.
You can't gotta be scared of this right hand. It's never coming after you.
You ever play with those Thai fighting sticks?
No.
Oh man.
But you said Thai sticks. I remember that.
Yeah, that's a different type of stick. This one's about 20, 24 inches long, and you hit some people with it.
Oh yeah, that's a stick. That's a bat. That's a Louisville Slugger.
Yeah.
That's a pole. Aggressive fish lover goes, that's something we used to smoke, Jerry. He's on the same sense I was. I remember that when I was younger. Hey, Vasquez family, thank you. Shauna says, I like both Skylar and Brock. It's ridiculous they're arguing about who hangs out at the rescue. I know. You know, you've sort of got politics in every situation. You know, you got politics over this person coming here and doing, you know, community service because then, you know, she goes home to her husband and then he's like, what'd you do there? And blah, blah. That's all politics stuff, you know. None of it needs to be. Nobody's here looking to take advantage of anybody or do anything wrong to anybody. You know, the more help we got, the more things we get done. That's all, you know.
What happens outside of that's none of my business. Unless you make it my business.
Harley says, sorry for breaking up the Tracy update. So glad she's doing well and improving. Vasquez family says cheers. Here you go. She said, the Vasquez family said cheers, big man. Thank you for my cup. I love it. When I got it, I was like, oh, okay, it's a container, you know, sure. But I didn't know it had the rubber pad on it. You can't move this. You can't slide this. I mean, it's solid. And then it's got a screw-on lid. And, you know, then I didn't even know that you could, you know, refrigerate the metal and it would make it cold and keep cold and stuff. I mean, it's just the more I have it, the more I like about it. And then, you know, I get to see all these cool pictures of us. That was amazing. Aggressive Fish Lover says, I agree, Harley, but just saying, I believe they're all adults and should be able to do their own choices, and Brock has been a great help and seems to enjoy being there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's all true, but I can see where the other, you know, comes in. You just think a little bit more younger. If they were 14 and 15-year-old kids, you know, you don't hang out at my friend's house without me, you know. Come on. Sean, I was just talking about the dreams about Tracy. Yeah, the last 2 weeks I've had a bunch. And, you know, the one time, oh my God, the one time I was having these dreams about Tracy every night, right? So then the next night I couldn't wait to fall asleep, you know. I only get to sleep from 8 o'clock until noon every day. That's my night. So I couldn't wait to fall asleep. And then, you know, I'm sitting there and all of a sudden I smell smoke and I get up and I'm looking all around. The house is full of smoke and I go running into Tracy's room and it's less in there. So I know it ain't from there. So I come back out here, I open up the door to the pool room and it's all over the pool room. I'm like, oh my God, it smells electrical. There's wires on fire here somewhere. And I'm running all around. And then all of a sudden I wake up and I'm looking around and I'm kind of like foggy eyed and I'm looking. And I jump up out of bed and I come running to and the nurse is like, are you okay? I'm like, there's no fire? I woke up out of a dream thinking there's a fire everywhere. That poor nurse. I scared her come running into the room, but I was scared myself.
Yeah, I agree with Shauna about them ads having terrible timing.
Yeah.
Too many of them.
Well, we used to get a lot of, people donating and stuff, and we don't no more. So I got to run the ads. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I can turn them on or off. I can't turn them up the frequency or down the frequency. I can just turn them on and off.
Well, we have more donations and more super chats. We wouldn't have the ads. But
Stop. Now you're looking like you're trying to talk. Okay.
No, that sounded wrong.
Right.
No, man, I didn't.
I just like hanging out with these guys.
But I didn't mean that I'm asking for donations.
Right.
No,
I'm just happy I get to hang out with all these guys, every weekend.
Yeah, I mean, if we shut off the ads, then there's absolutely no income for it. I just when somebody mentioned cutting off my beard, how much would I take? I'm actually considering it. For a donation to the.
Hey, if I can guarantee a certain amount, I'd cut my hair too.
Yeah,
I'd grow back.
Nobody's going into the 40 digits on that. You'd be able to buy the place cheaper than his hair. Well, I don't know.
Yeah, this whole week, I'm sorry the Tracy update got cut short, but this whole week, we've been working on this new tank, and the color ain't that bad. I didn't like it at first, but Shauna says I don't mind the ads, but tonight they keep interrupting when Rich has something to say. Everything I say is important, Shauna. No, I just like hanging out with you guys every week, and this is my night out right now. You guys you're seeing my night out. A drink or two, good conversation, good friends, hanging out. This is my night out. Tracy says, I'm so glad the Legacy finally opened. It was so emotional because Brian wasn't there. I know. And you know what? The thing that got me was when I was talking to Lori, I was like, he was at my house, and then 2 weeks later, I got told he's got cancer, and 4 weeks later, he was gone. I mean, it was too quick. It was too, geez, it wasn't like 4 years of you're ailing, no, it was just like, oh, we found out about it. Oh, he's gone. It was too much. It was, oh my God. But to be able to keep helping and making his dream come true. And, Lori's a champ. She's handling it. She's doing, I mean, he would be so impressed because he could sit back and let his family run things. And, when he was around, he really didn't think so. He had to be the one doing everything, and it's he would be so surprised how they stepped up and took over and ran everything and not even finished it yet, but worked on his dream and made it, come to fruition. Oh my God.
Lori's pretty amazing. Yeah, that pancreatic cancer is the worst. I mean, if you're going to come down with cancer, the bone cancer is just about. I'm a cancer survivor, but the cancer I had is considered a lightweight. I had a nice talk with Brian about being a cancer survivor, but I really didn't get a chance to know the man. I met him twice. That one time he was here, we talked a little bit, but just fun and games. And then we had a serious conversation about surviving the cancer. And then he was gone. Didn't get a chance to really know him. Miss it. Anybody as crazy as I am. That's the first thing I told him after watching a couple of his videos when I met him in person. It was nice to meet somebody as crazy as I am.
That virgin says, did you see the tiger shark, the predatory fins surprised Lori with? Gorgeous tank. Yeah, it was awesome. Wow. They did a good job. You know, that's my dude. He's going to show up and help when he can. You know, he's a busy man. You know, Rod is very busy. They're forever going back and forth from, you know, Singapore, Taiwan, and back over here, and then they're dealing with this city there that don't want them to open. They can't open up unless they do, like, you know, all this ridiculous stuff, and they're getting it done, and they're going to be opening soon. So I mean, they're going through a lot themselves. Plus to come out here and do that, you know, for you know, the legacy was amazing. You know, that's why, you know, people are like, but yeah, but he's part of the problem, you know, supplying all these monster fish. Pet stores are there regardless. I'm a rescue, yes. He also rescues where he's at. He does what he can to help. But he has a business. You can't, you know, blame someone for their business. So I mean, he does help out. He does what he can to help everybody. So I mean, he's a good guy.
I think we picked too common a word. Fish is not a good drinking word, man. Not on this channel.
Fish.
We got
You see all the fish?
We
Look,
got a whole
there was one
bunch
fish,
to
two
catch up.
fish, three fish, four,
Yeah.
5 fish, 6
Yeah.
fish, 7 fish, more.
Start counting.
Drink up, guys. There's like 8 right there. I just said.
I don't know whether that's Sesame Street or Dr. Seuss. Dr. Seuss is fantastic.
And speaking of which, my buddy Paul Caparo called me yesterday, and he's coming up here. He needed the address and which airport to fly into and all that. He's coming up here, so you guys will see some video on that pretty soon.
Oh, great. You're good to see you.
Yeah. He's coming up, probably staying a weekend or something. It's on easy. 99 fish on the wall.
We got
One swims away, there's 98 fish on the wall. How many times you got to say fish in one sentence to get you people to drink?
The alligator dog comes by and there's only 98.
Too cool. You guys are a lot of fun. Thank you.
Great to end again.
Wow, I'm really keeping up with these comments anymore, huh?
Well, you jumped over a bunch of them between when you started the Tracy comment and when you jumped in on the conversation about Tracy. I mean, no, when you started answering Tracy questions, there was a bunch in there that got jumped, but
really?
Not.
I can go back up.
Oh, it's ways back.
On his message. I don't mind the ads tonight. They keep interrupting Rich saying something I really want to hear. You know, I feel important like that. Thank you, Shauna. Bob Taylor says, I got YouTube Premium and consider it money well spent.
No, we got a super chat.
There's the Tracy update.
That's when he started answering the questions.
Yeah. Jennifer Bean says the stoner crew.
Yeah.
Laughing.
That was that comment you made.
Well, you know, that's what they like doing. I don't want it here at my house, you know, this, that, but, you know, that's what they do. And I told them, don't do that until after you get to a rescue and then on your way home. Then I don't care. But you can't show up at rescues smelling like weed. You know, it's not a good look. And, you know, it's like, hey, I'm going to call these stoners to come pick up my fish. No. But Aggressive Fish Lover says, we have a mini pig here. He's quite the character, but smart. He's an asshole. Let me, okay. I had
pig or pug?
Pig. We were talking about pig. I know he spelled pug.
Okay.
But you know, I had a potbelly pig named Harley before. He was black. He wore a spiked collar. Harley the hog. Okay, it was all it fit, you know. And I bought him for $40 off this guy. He says, "Oh, he's the sweetest little character. He's this and that, blah blah blah." And okay, so I take him home, and you know, I make him a little bed in the corner of the dog bed, you know, and this and that, and I feed him and everything, and he goes and he actually lays on his bed. I wake up in the morning to Tracy screaming at me, "Rich, get down here!" My bedroom was upstairs in the last house, and I come downstairs, and there was all of our furniture. We had a blue like I don't know, it's like a 3-piece couch that went to a corner like a a set, and then this side here had a chase lounge, and you know, you could lay in it type thing. And he had every single one of these cushions. He sat at the end, he bit the cushion, and he masturbated all over the couch. And then he'd move to the next section and do the same. And he did this all the way around. He ripped every single cushion on my couch as he pleasured himself all night long, and little spots everywhere on my couches. I was so damn mad. I was so mad. I grabbed him and I took him back to the person who sold him to me for $40 the night before. And he's like, "Oh no, I'm not taking that bastard back." I'm like, "You told me he was cool. You told me this. You lied to me." And he went in his house and he came back out with a gun. And
Buyer beware.
right, buyer beware. And he said, you know, blah, blah, blah. I'm not taking that thing back. And I walked up to him and I was like, "Yes, you are." And I dropped the pig to his feet and I turned around. I walked out and I closed the gate behind me. I got my car and I left. That was it. That was the one and only time I had a potbelly pig in my possession. Never again. That was horrid. He destroyed an $1,800, you know, living room set that I was so proud of. You know, ugh, that was horrible. Top that story, guys.
I didn't-
Gracie had said, "I'm just joking, Jerry. Love you, my friend. Just all in good fun."
Yeah, there's jokes about the wooden bicycles.
And the covered wagons.
Jens Carlson finally got it right. Dogfish Jerry. I've been Dogfish Jerry since I was about 9 years old because I had myself a red-nosed English pit whose name was Fish. So I had a dog named Fish and I was Jerry. So it was Dogfish Jerry.
Okay, let's go here.
Yeah, we're good. And catch up with our super chats.
Divergent says, "It's awesome the way you all have become friends and a community of support for each other." Well, yeah, people that are in the situation, like if you're a car dealership and you know you're helping out the next dealership that's opening up, that's just good business, you know. That's all we do is we help each other out. We stand up and, you know, stick up for each other. We know who's an a-hole in the business and we know who's not, you know. And we don't really bring around the people that's an a-hole, you know.
Yeah. And if somebody wants to take advantage of any of us, we all find out about it. When you've got tanks that are 4,000 gallons and bigger,
See if she beeps.
okay.
I'll be right back.
Now, when you got tanks that are 4,000 gallons and bigger, everybody knows. Anybody who's got a tank that big knows who's got, and they just like they know who's got the biggest and who's threatening to get the biggest and everything else. So, Geez, got me voiceless. That's crazy. See what he's doing now. I don't have access to his. Oh, Divergent says, now Jerry, run for it. Right. Well, you guys is all still talking about pigs. I grew up slopping hogs, man. So occasionally.
The trach mask.
Oh yeah.
It's the thing that goes over her trach, and it's got a hose going to it that gives steam, so that she brings moist air down into her lungs, and oxygen hooks up to that. That trach mask was too far up on her throat, so when she coughed out phlegm, now she's breathing that back in and out, and it made her cough and chug for a second. So
Well, people were apologizing for cutting off the Tracy with the Tracy comments
Oh,
with
that's
the
all right.
questions, but no news is good news, man. When you can say all you can say is she's doing good, you can't really, it hasn't been, we don't.
okay, did you get to this yet?
No, I didn't. Yep, Aquatics. Thank you very much. He said, what up, guys? Much love always. Just got an 80-gallon. Is that an 80 or 180?
Oh, I don't know. Let me move it over a little bit
Looks
for
like
you.
180.
A 180.
I was wondering what larger fish I can keep with plants.
There's the problem with plants. You can't really keep large fish with plants in a tank. They will just the movement of their tail, moving to
It cuts
that
off.
scoop from one side to the other. It pulls the plants out.
It pretty much cuts off at the size of good discus and ultim angels, and that makes a beautiful tank.
Yeah. So no red tails with plants and a 180.
No.
That'll never work. You can do an arowana and a clown knife. Now they'll do fine in there until they get too big. So for a couple of years you can keep an arowana in there, and them look good. The clown knife will stay down like this with its tail up in the plants. I'll use it for hiding, and the arowana will just go at the top. So something like that. Or like, let me see what else could be good in there. Featherfin squeakers are fun with plants. They do pull them up though eventually every here and there. But I mean, fill it with cichlids and one big trophy fish like a fly river turtle, which might pull up plants here and there.
Yeah,
but
pull them up with his fins.
They're not trying to, just trying to swim past it. But with all the cichlids,
a nice tall sword plant, well rooted.
He'll be fine with that.
Put a few pieces of slate above the roots.
So he's looking for like a show-off tank.
Yeah.
So I'm talking a couple of show-off species. An arowana is perfect for a planted tank for a show-off species.
A fill full of severums and silver dollars.
He's wanting something bigger.
You got a big salad.
Stop it. He's wanting something bigger. Some
fish you don't keep with any plants.
Right. Jen says, well, we got her drunk.
We're only 1 hour in, Jens. That's what happens when fish is a drinking word.
Right. Stephen Bundle, what's up, buddy? Says, I have a 180 stocked with 8 discus and some plants. Is that the same tank that Paco come out of? That we came out there and rescued him? He's a big damn fish to be coming out of a 180, buddy.
Yeah.
He's as big as Big Betty now. Every bit. They're both thick. They're both fat. They're both big. They're both long. Sheldon's right behind them. Huji Foster says a big gulp whenever Rich hiccups. How about that? Big gulps, guys.
Heidi Miller says, love all you do and did for Brian and Lori.
Oh, thank you.
We appreciate that. I don't have that much to do with that end of it. I just go out there and take care of the fish.
Swan Easy says that was the best time of that pig's life. Ruining my furniture. That little bastard. Gracie
Seven
says,
course meal.
Gracie says, where'd it go? It just jumped. Oh no, where'd it go? Gracie says, Rich, you just made me laugh so hard with your pig story.
Yeah.
I've got some stories behind me now. I'll tell you that. And I try and keep them G-rated for this show here. But if you were here on a drinking night, I'd be telling you some stories. I got pictures that prove, too, because I always take pictures of everything. So I got pictures that prove my stories are always true.
The Southern English Rose says they're not allowed pit bulls over here. Well, I don't know where she's from. Other than English, if she's English. But, I mean,
Gracie says, I used to have a miniature pincher that would use one of my winter gloves to pleasure himself with. Put one finger in his mouth and the rest of the gloves over his private parts and pleasure himself. Why are we talking about animals that pleasure themselves?
I don't know.
Why is it so interesting?
My dad had a little mixed breed dog that pleasured herself on her shoes all the time.
Oh my God. Southern English Rose has pigs over here. Have to have a special license to move them. I'll tell you what, have you ever moved a potbelly pig? Worst experience ever. Oh, the pig's nice. He'll come up to you. He'll take food from you. He goes and he lays down. And they can call him into the room. They can tell him to go lay down, and he listens. The moment you pick that pig up, it's nothing but ree, ree, ree. The pig screams bloody murder.
Oh God!
Non-stop.
It don't stop when they're
like
600 pounds either. This is where you took off when you went to take care of Tracy. Divergence says, now Jerry, run for it.
Oh yeah, remember that time that you were like, Jerry, blink if you're being held against you.
Yeah, right.
Matt LeMay says, channel cats work good with plants? No, they don't. They move their tail once and you uproot 17 plants. What are you talking about, Matt? Ain't no way. Albino channels had them on my appointment today, my 180-220. Oh, well, then they're smaller, maybe. Yeah, sure. We're talking big. He wants something big as a showcase in his tank. So a 2-foot, 3-foot fish and a 2-foot channel cat. If you scare it, you turn on the light and it goes the other side. It's going to uproot half the tank. I'm sorry. I'm not used to, smaller little fish. I'm used to bigger fish. And I know how they act. Even Yup Aquatic says Rich knows exactly what I want. He wants a showpiece. He wants something big in there. You know what I would do? I would have Australian lungfish, which is good with the plants. It'll be fine. He'll get bigger, but they don't take off, and move, and their tail uproots a bunch of stuff. They move just like so elegantly, and they'll hide in the plants.
They'll interact with you just like a cichlid too.
Yeah. OG Foster says most of Rich's best stories are documented with a scar. Yeah, it scarred my psyche. Wow. Matt says he has a Yorkie that they bought him a raccoon, little stuffed animal, and pleasures himself with that raccoon, and he gets his freak on all the time. Steven says, why do I feel like I'm watching Deliverance, Big Rich? Because you heard that pig squealing. That's why. That was a horrid scene right there that you're bringing up, Steven. That's not what I was referring to when I was doing that pig squealing.
You want to get us demonetized?
Oh my goodness! I tell you what, that movie traumatized me. Because I was hillbilly as hillbilly can be, and then they're showing hillbillies on there, doing this to another person and making them squeal like a pig while they're doing it. It's like, that's not how hillbillies are. That's some backwoods bullshit right there. Tracy says, needless to say, I never use those gloves again.
Yeah.
She called them his love gloves.
About that time, you just let the dog have it. He can keep it. That's a good idea too. Excuse me, Schwanese. A nice, pretty pike cichlid would be a nice.
Ooh, a fire eel, yes,
Yeah,
nice
fire eel,
for sure. That's a good showpiece because they get the big around as a Coke can, and 3 foot long, and they're just exquisite through the water.
Put him a nice stringy piece of driftwood to wrap around and plant that thing like crazy. He'll be right out in the open all the time.
Matt says all this show needs tonight is some banjo music.
Well, we can come up with that. Southern English Rose says she's from Sussex, England. And that bloodline pit bull, that red nose I had, was an English tombstone. One of the most beautiful, intelligent dogs, about 45 pounds. He'd go in and take his own Chinook salmon out of the river. And go, you couldn't take him fishing because he was fishing all the time. That's too bad. It's not the dog, it's the owner. The dog's mistreated or it wouldn't be crazy.
Yeah, with the fire eels, you definitely need to make it, escape proof. Don't we have 2 fire eels in with all the 9 GATFs?
Yeah, those 9, and those guys are 8-10 inches. 8-10 inch tiger fish.
VATFs and 2 GATFs.
180-gallon tank. Oh yeah, man, those 2 fire eels would love it in there, man. If you planted that thing heavy with that piece of driftwood that's already in there, that'd be perfect.
Country Nerd says, "Are you going to buy another Arapaima?" We buy every one we can. Okay, right now we can't go out and get another replacement for Brutus.
No.
But we do have a 33 incher in the 4400.
Yeah.
We've got another one in one of the other tanks, and then we've got 3 babies that are probably 8-9 inches now in the 110.
And the babies are so much fun to play with.
They're so fun. So we're going to raise them up, but we still take in everybody's things that are too big, and hopefully somebody has a 3-4 foot Arapaima that we can put right in the pool.
Yeah, we have to.
It's a matter of time. When somebody calls us and go, I don't know what to do with my Arapaima, we'll be like, listen, I've got a 58,000-gallon pool with no Arapaima in it, and it would be perfect for your animal.
Yeah. But at 4 foot, there's so much risk in moving one of them things. It takes a certain skill.
We've done it before. We can do it again.
Oh, I know. But I've never done it by myself, is what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, you wouldn't want to.
No, you and Josh do. I mean, but that's, you say you're so used to the big fish, you're not familiar with little fish. To tell you the truth, what I'm learning here is them big fish ain't no different. It's just scaled up way bit.
Oh, you better, yeah. All right, Prince Vino asked, oh, shit, took my glasses off.
Oh, that's so sad.
How do you calculate gallons per area?
Talking about killing dogs for no reason.
We have a large wall with a tank potential, but I need to take weight into consideration. Here's what I do every time. I have a tank calculator on my phone, but it's easier for me just to go to Google and type in tank calc, TANKCALC, and you can do a rectangle, square, round, whatever tank you want, and then you put in the size, the dimensions you want, and it'll tell you exactly what size it is, how many gallons or how many liters.
Multiply by mass.
No, you don't have to do any of that. You
that
put in
what?
the length, the width, and the height, and it tells you it's this many gallons, this many liters. It's simple.
No, but weight wise.
It tells you the weights too.
That's what I was asking. That's
So
what he was
everything's there.
asking. And then just check the weight ratio on your floor.
Right.
You might have to have an I-beam underneath it with support.
How big are the baby Arapaima from Country Nerd? They're 8-9 inches. 2 of them are 8, and 1 of them is 9.5. So they're growing quick. They're
eat
eating a lot.
pigs. Let's Dave some of that cod I chopped up tonight.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But the big one spit it out.
He says Tank Calc is the best app. It is. It's a great app.
You have to first they have to recognize
Super
it as food.
simplistic. What's that?
I said all those fish like that, first they have to recognize it as food. You put
Right.
something strange in there, and they're
Yeah, they don't know. Oh, I went through a bunch of stuff in the carport today of people that brought in, and I got a couple boxes full of food.
great.
Now I got to decide whether it's floating or sinking. I can put all the sinking stuff mixed into the cichlid pellets.
Right?
So all the floating stuff is to go to the koi, stuff like
Yeah.
that. And then there's a bunch of like brine shrimp and
Yeah.
also
I know where it all
mealworms.
goes. If you want me to sort it, just set it on the floor there.
It's out. You know where
I'm
that
not
tank?
doing water changes. I got nothing to do.
You know what? That tank I got back there next to the 80-gallon tall
Yeah.
with the goldfish in it. All the food's on top of there in a box.
Okay, great.
So
He's 2 steps ahead of me again.
anything that's sinking, like
Yeah,
shrimp
I know.
pellets and all that, throw into the cichlid
Yeah.
bowl.
Yeah.
Anything that's floating, that's on you what you want to do with it. But there is brine shrimp out there also, and mealworms too.
Great.
So
How long have I been feeding your fish, Rich? Over 2 years? Other than leaving the fish food laying out on top of the tank
lids
here and
open?
there, and lids open.
okay,
Okay. The lid's open I'm working on, but right now with the sturgeon and the baby fish and the special foods, well, it's not special foods, it's just, we've got nice sturgeon pellets. I'm not going to give them to the cichlids. I'm going to give them to the sturgeon.
well now see that's the difference. Like the sinking spirulina wafers, that go to the sturgeon. The sinking
The sturgeon don't care for the spirulina. They
really,
want those higher protein ones, those sinking wafers.
really. So like the shrimp pellets.
No, not shrimp pellets leave too much crap. It's like those trout.
Well, that's what goes to the cichlids, and they
Yeah.
make a mess and they eat. But I don't want to throw the food away. That's what I give all the cichlids. All the food comes in. Anything sinking goes to the cichlids. So, I don't know. We have good filtration.
I still think we should have a big worm bed out there, and we can put all the leftover turn
Wouldn't
down
that be
food
great?
in the worm bed, and you've got gut-loaded night crawlers.
Yep.
And you can put a series of screens in there, and you can let them grade themselves. Plus, you've got the compost for it.
You know
Nothing
what?
to
Let's start planning on that. Let's start working on it as to what would be perfect, where we can put it, how to do it, and we'll start building it.
Now, people pay $5 for a little bag of worm compost.
Not even
We
that.
give it away.
I can get a round thing, a tub about 4 inches round, 2 inches tall, is $5 at the place for night crawlers. And
That's what they charge for night crawlers now.
$5 for a tub. There's probably I think 15 to 20 in there.
The waste food around here, and
Austin McGoldrick says today's video was awesome. That was my video. Thank you very much.
Sorry, folks. we
Love
got
the
another
getting
side
things
talk
done
there.
type of videos. Country Nerd says, are those cichlids real or just a background? That's my tank. This is my tank outside right now. This, you can walk out in my fish room and see. This is my tank. I just took a video of it and put it behind us. See here, watch this. I can take this
Oh no, you're gonna lose us again.
No. I can take the cichlid background right off. And it's just
Oh,
a
yeah.
background. It's just a video, but the video is of my tank.
Want to see
You
the
know?
community tank? It's on there too.
Yeah, there's the community tank. And then we've got, what's this one?
It's Tracy.
Another community tank.
That's better one.
And then we've got, there's the
Monster.
remember when we had the
Yeah,
Belvederes in the pool? And then, let me see here. Oh, that's our starting screen.
Oh, it's going to look similar to
That was one of the saltwater there.
When we got
There is our front tank that is now the front, or, oh, geez, what do I have in there? My
right
favorite
now,
fish.
angelfish,
And
geophagus.
Geophagus. Okay, it's now the Geophagus tank. That's the tank that it was. And then that was the pool before it was a predator pond. It was a pool.
Much better now.
Yeah, some people will argue with you.
Now, once we get that dog bone set up in there, it's going to look real similar to when you
Look
had
how nice that
floating.
Frontosa tank was when I first did it.
Well, it's just seasoned. That's a raw tank. That's why
That's
you're
the
going through the
4400.
videos on Facebook, and you can tell the difference between a living tank and something somebody just got through decorating yesterday.
Right.
You know,
Oh, there's
it's a raw tank.
Christmas here.
I was gonna post something.
Oh, and there was Josh's,
Reese just got a whole lot bigger.
What do you call that? The
Pontoon boat.
pontoon boat.
You can
Thank
say
you.
fish in the
Hey,
middle of
Diesel.
the lake.
The little diesel.
Well, he's fat now, but he was
Up in
skinny
there.
back then.
Video of the
He was little diesel back then.
He still thinks he's a diesel.
Well, you got to give a little dog a big dog name, you know?
Yeah.
So now we're back to that. That's my tank, though. Yes, it is one of our tanks.
Diesel.
Up. You heard that. Drink up. Someone's talking about fish. You all better drink up.
I was gonna post something on social media like
So Country Nerd says, are those cichlids real or just a background? No, that's me feeding
You
them
can say
right there.
fish in the middle of the
See
lake.
how they're all eating? That's my tank. They are real as
Up
can
in
be.
there and Video of the seating.
Well, let me wipe it down for
No, just hurry up.
And that was about 3 years ago, wasn't it? That was before I came on the place.
I don't know.
No, it wasn't. Because there's Venustus in there, and there wasn't any Venustus.
We got a bunch of Venustus in there.
Huh?
Diesel.
We got a bunch of Venustus in there.
Yeah, now. But there's Venustus swimming right there. And we didn't have any Venustus in there when I first came.
I was gonna post something on social media like Reese just got a whole lot bigger.
About 2.5 years ago.
Craig
say
Bunner
fish in the
Garage
middle of
says,
the
have you
lake.
made plans for the Arapaima that just passed getting it mounted? No,
Take this
we're
up in
past
there
that point. It's
Video of the
already
seating.
past
Well, let
that
me
point.
wipe it down
No
first.
one
Just hurry up.
offered to do it cheap for us. No one offered to do it, as a donation or anything like that. And I can't afford the $7,000 it would cost
That's
For-
buy another one.
a 76-inch fish to be mounted. So I couldn't do it. But
Diesel.
we have them out there, and the potato bugs and all the other animals, little microbes are eating the skin away. We'll have the skull here soon of it.
I think I'm going to make
You can say fish in the middle of the lake.
We have all the scales,
Can you take this up in there?
and the scales are like
Video of the seating.
this big around.
No, just
So I thought if we sell 100 scales at $5 a piece, there's the new background for the new tanks.
Yeah.
Diesel.
The sound is repeating in the background. Anybody else? Let me go look, because I may have that.
I was gonna post something on social media like Reese
Make
just
sure
got
that
a
the
whole
sound
lot
is
bigger.
turned off, like on this tank here.
I'm watching the draft.
You can say fish in the middle of the lake.
All right, don't talk for a second.
Can you take
Is that
this up
still
in there
going?
and Video of the seating.
Well, let me wipe it down
No,
first.
just hurry up.
I wonder if it's picking up.
Something's running right here.
It's picking up the fan on the computer.
Stop talking. Okay, it was off. It was the boat video. That video right there, the sound was on. So
Okay.
now we're good. I can turn back on the cichlids.
I would have never found that.
It's pretty simple.
Well, that's why
See, now
we-
that's on,
okay.
but it's turned off. See how it's not green?
Yeah,
When we talk, we come here and we talk, that's green. That's on.
yeah. All right.
Okay.
It
So
was-
we're good.
It looks like two lines because you had that sound in the background.
Right.
Okay, now I know how to use the indicator. I might even learn how to use this. It's all Greek to me, man.
Everybody's saying yes, 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 and then it's fixed. It stopped. I fixed it. I figured it out. I'm not a slacker.
He's a fish.
Zach says, shh, crypt keeper. Bob Taylor says, put me down for a couple of Brutus scales.
They're not as easy to get off as you think.
Oh, Ken Cummings says, Big Rich, how's Reaper doing? He's doing good. He said he was going to hang out here more and more, and this and that. Everything's doing good. He's got his house together. He's caught up. His car's giving him a little bit of problems. Jerry, is that a nicotine pen or something more?
More.
Brutus scales, make them into paperweights with epoxy. Okay.
Wow, that's a lot of scales.
We have a lot of scales. We have
Yeah, but
Brutus and Bruiser.
all
we have
right,
scales
well,
for
you just
both.
got talking about $5 a piece for scales.
Yeah, but they're this big.
Yeah, but a paperweight made out of them, $150.
Oh, stop.
Well, that many scales.
No, just one or two scales with some epoxy, make it a paperweight.
Oh, just stick a couple of
Yeah.
scales on an epoxy. I was talking about making a paperweight out of scales.
Ricky Tillotson says, I have got to say, when you was considering to put that dog bone in the pool pond, I had a dream a couple months back that you even put it in the pond and it came true. Wow, cool. Lorenz Cortot says, stop killing ducks to make duct tape.
Put your bottle away.
You've had
Lorenz.
enough to drink tonight, Lorenz. They don't kill ducks to make duct tape.
This is black truffle live resin. You got better than me.
Joseph Tower says, Rich, what fish or other aquarium species directly eat fish poop? What's the biggest fish poop eater? I'd say goldfish.
No.
No?
The giraffe cat has a beak.
Giraffe again. Okay, I'm sorry. I did not
got
even
a
think
Jack
there.
Pratt in
I
every
love
damn
my
giraffe.
giraffe cat. Okay, I love my ripsaw cats. They suck up the gravel. They clean anything, detritus mostly, not fish poop specifically, but they clean anything that's in the gravel, and then it comes out their gills, and you'll see gravel coming out their gills as they're cleaning it, and they just go through it like a bulldozer. I love these fish, okay, for that purpose. But I'm on a bigger scale, so I didn't even think about that when you said what eats fish poop. I'm thinking, goldfish bowl. What eats a little fish poop? But yeah, it's the giraffe cat and the ripsaw cat, or the Niger cat, Oxydorus niger, is they sift through the gravel and clean it out. And loaches for smaller tank, yeah, of course.
But that giraffe cat, it even picks up stingrays. Ooh. And that's some hot stuff. That's not just regular fish stuff. Man.
Tommy Beatty says, I have a 13 or 14-inch ballast shark, which is outgrown a 55-gallon tank. Yes, I'd like to put her somewhere where she can jump and swim. I've already picked her up off the floor because she jumped out. Yes, we have in the Bellagio tank. Let me see if I can get to it. You can maybe even see them. We have them about 15 to 18 inches. and right here, I think this is it.
That one that we had that was near the end of his life there for a while.
There's a
That
couple
thing was
battle
over
sharks.
20 inches.
Yeah, they were huge.
That one.
You'll see them right here. There's a bunch of battle sharks in there, and like that one right there is probably about 14 inches. That's a smaller one.
No, yeah, I'm not gonna argue sizes.
Look, there's a bigger one. He's probably 16 inches. These are all big specimens because this thing right here is a foot. Right, that's a foot from one side to the other. This is about almost 2 foot at the base. So that's a size comparison right there.
Well, that's almost full height. That's a 4-foot wall.
Yeah, from bottom to top is 4 foot. So here's a foot, here's a 2 foot, here's 3 foot, here's 4 foot.
That's just about size properly to the tank.
Yeah.
You'd have to have 3 screens wide to have it all on there.
Karen Fletcher. There's a person that knows. Do you still have the blue background for the Bellagio tanks? Yes, I do. We tried putting them on, but something called deflection. The 20-foot long tank and 4 foot tall, the very center is out and touching the back wall, so I can't put the background behind it. Now, I've been meaning to do this. I want to lower the water level down to where it's not pushing out in the middle. Slide the background behind there because I've got 2 20-foot backgrounds for it. And then, you know, once I get it into place, tape it up and all this, fill it back up with water, and, you know, so what if it touches? It's okay. The background's in.
You'll have to roll it up and put it in there like a carpet and then unroll it inside.
Well, I got it rolled up for the length, and what we have to do is unroll it for the whole length while the water's out and it's not pushing out in the middle. Slide it behind, because we can only slide it so far and it wouldn't touch. It wouldn't go no far. So we had to quit. So I need to lower the water out.
That's on the 2 sides?
No, the ends, the backs, you know, from the length.
Back.
Okay. So I have to, you know, lower the water down to about maybe a foot, foot and a half in the tank where it's not pushing out in the middle. Then slide the background back there, then fill it up and hold the background in place.
Yeah, I'm sorry, maybe you said slide the background in, you made it sound a lot easier. They were little portables at the top. They ain't no bigger than, what are they, 20-inch portables up there on the top of that Bellagio tank with that low ceiling.
Yeah.
Getting in and out of there is a monster.
How's that? Is there no background sound now?
Yeah, we're clear.
Blake Weber says, besides the logistic, this is why we don't stream from the pool room or fish room.
Yeah. I mean, if you both got GoPros and, you know, we'd have to have a third person in the room to control the mics and the cameras.
Well, usually, like when I go to Aquashellas and they have an interview, they have a person running the camera and a person setting up the lighting and all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's just me here. I have the lighting, I have the computer, I have this, I have the controls at my side right here while I'm doing the interview. You know, this is basically what this is
Well,
an
just
interview.
pick it up and take it with you.
It's easy as that.
Well, I know it's, I mean, it's, I don't know, technologically it's possible to do it out there.
Well, you know, I could do it from my phone and just walk around like, you know, LBR, you know, does, you know, Lucas Brett's Aquatics. He walks around and shows everything from his phone. It's not 4K, you know, we broadcast in 4K.
Get you one of those pet drones.
Well,
Those ones that stay exactly 3 foot off your shoulder and film everything you look at.
yeah, even so, we need the computer out there working. Vasquez family says the color on those cichlids are beautiful. Lorenz says they're painted every Friday. Yeah, we never go to sleep here. We work painting of the fish constantly.
Yeah. Check out the detail, man. We're good at it.
You guys are killing me.
I think they're getting even with me for suggestions. They put severums.
Oh yeah, Ken Cummings says albino gooch, baby. The new albino gooch is doing great.
Magnificent.
I went and looked at the old one today, and I'm like, holy shit, he's so big. I mean, them fish grow.
Oh, he's fat right now, man.
Yeah.
He's getting ready to add some length
He's
now.
so big.
Yeah, he's been eating like a pig. I'd like to have them both out there, but we'd have to take the Paraíba out, and he's not ready to come out of there yet.
We need like
He's not big enough
No,
to
no,
go in
no,
the
no.
muscle pond yet.
imagine this. We need 50,000 gallon pond.
Oh yeah, we need a lot
Okay.
of things that way.
You know,
wanna go that
maybe
far?
30 foot wide, 10 foot tall, bunch of arowanas at the top, a bunch of GATFs in about mid range, bunch of clown knives in there, a bunch of albino gooch in the bottom. You know, we're just talking, you know, with the Australian lungfish, you know, all the cool stuff. You know, that's what we need. I can't.
My brain's gone. No, I started imagining what kind of a filter system that would entail. You'd have to have twice as much water in circulation, no, 3 times the capacity of the tank in circulation in a filter system.
You always want,
in order
if
to
you got
operate
a
that.
1,000 gallon tank, you want 3,000 gallons per hour, turning over per
Rotation.
hour.
I'm talking about needing that volume of water. Your filter system would hold at least as much as the tank did for that size of a system. Yeah.
You want
You got
3
that.
times your volume turnover per hour. That's all.
Yeah.
And that always does good.
Not with that kind of stocking.
Blake Weber says, I like how lives went from Josh saying, we could, but here are X, Y, and Z with that, to Rich telling Jerry, great idea. Here's the problem to that. The channel is consistent. You know, everything sounds great on paper. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, you come put it together. If you think it works so great on paper, fine.
Jen says, and the stripper poles on top of that, that's what every fish tank needs is a couple stripper poles for mermaids, you know?
That's why those new tanks are so low. That's not for easy access. That's
For
so we
midget
can put the
strippers?
stripper, yeah, we're going to stripper poles up.
Midget strippers having on a bar. What the hell? Terry. Oh my goodness.
If I put a strip tree trunk in that monster pond right now, those Arapaima would breed. No, the arowanas, not the pimas. The arowana breed on that stripped wooden surface.
LPD 209 says, you need to get that cough checked, Rich. I don't have no cough. Jerry goes full Monty. Lawrence, midget strippers, midget bowl at Friday.
Yeah, I'm looking for volunteers. Somebody says, who's the stripper?
Ohio Fish Rescue OnlyFins.
He was full Monty.
Maybe Skylar can take on a 4th job.
Oh, no. Oh. You told me to shut up already about that.
We're talking OnlyFins. They can't have you on there cutting your toenails. Come on.
I
now.
just found another use for that damn air horn out there.
What air horn?
That air horn I'm going to let the nurse use. For
No. What
Yeah.
air horn? Where?
There's one out in the, behind the, in the storage out there at the other end of the pond.
I
And
better
there's
see it
ours.
before the nurse does. Jens Carlson says, eels on poles.
That's about what it looks like. I helped breed the arowanas one time with a guy that had the system.
Oh no, a Jerry and Reaper strip off. What the hell?
No,
Guys, I don't
no,
need
nasty.
these visions in my head. Stop.
No. Oh. Well, I'm glad to see there's people sicker than I am.
These are our friends, Jerry.
Everybody serves a purpose, even if it's just to make me look better. I gotta roll my
Zach
head out.
S says, can we see the geos up front soon? Of course. I'll make another video on that. Wait, what's today? Today is Friday. I got to make one for Monday. I'll include them on Monday.
Yeah, give them another day. They're looking good. And
No, they're coming up this weekend. They're coming up from the back.
they're medicated right now.
I know. They're coming up from the back to the front, probably Sunday. And then, I'll do the video Sunday.
That's what I said. Give them a day.
Yeah.
That's what I said. Sunday would be good. I want to do one more water change on them and get them running in the water without any medication in it, or with less medication, And then
Prince Vino says, has Jeremy from River Monsters ever been in touch? Have you have a lot of fish he hunts. You could give him great inside information. No, we talked to him one time, and that's when Rod was setting up the Monster Bash, get together every year. And he wanted $30,000 to show up. And we're like, you're not worth that, bro. Sorry. Love you, but you're not worth that. Austin McGoldrick says, I saw Josh and Reaper dress as mermaids. They'd make good strippers. Reaper was like the oldest, most washed up mermaid I ever saw in my life.
There's a couple good videos of them guys.
He looked like, I don't know, a 70-year-old hooker. Just worn out, strung out. It was bad. It was bad. It was a terrible mermaid.
Yeah, if you want to see some old friends dressed up like mermaids, just go check out those videos.
The old OFR videos. I was a mermaid, and I'm holding Josh in my arms as a mermaid. And then Rod shows up from, New York, and he dressed up as a mermaid. Oh, my God. We had so much fun. It was hilarious. Do you think it's, Ken Cummings says, do you think it's possible to breed fly river turtles? Somebody is in the United States because they're on the endangered species list, but yet they're available to order. Okay, so somebody is selling them as a breeding stock because you cannot get them from the wild no more at all, period. So somebody is doing it. It's a hard process. You need a pond area, you need lots of plants, and then you need sandy, dry area to where they can dig their area and lay their eggs and stuff like that. And then you need incubators and all that to take their eggs up and this and that. So
it takes a dedicated system that's bigger than this place.
Right.
It's cost prohibitive unless you got a high turnover. And unfortunately, right now he does. And
Harley Jem says, I take that being sicker than Jerry as a compliment. Thanks. Harley's sicker than you.
I'll take your word for it, Harley. I ain't going to have no competition.
Reaper on a pole, Jen says. One could only hope.
Boy, I really set something out there, didn't I?
Lorenz Jalapeno on a stick. That's a Jeff Dunham reference.
Anime lifestyle. Just caught your live stream. Oh, that camera gets me all the time.
Yeah, cuts off what you can see.
Yeah.
Austin McGoldrick, any update on the Dwight Howard tank? No. Someone bought it, and we haven't heard from him since, so I don't know.
Are you all the way back to where he's shooting me?
Well, I'm trying to, find things I didn't talk about. See, everyone thinks, Oh my God! You go to Ohio Fish Rescue, and Big Rich has got a stripper pole in his bedroom. You know what I use that stripper pole for?
Somebody will come up with something like that. Always.
Do you know what I use that stripper pole for? I swear to God. For one, getting up out of the bed. It helps. Two, putting my underwear and shorts on. I use that pole. It holds me up. You know what I'm saying? It's not used as a stripper pole. I can't remember the last stripper that was here. It used to be back in the day, but now it's a device to help an old guy put his underwear on. That's what it is. Tracy's beeping. I gotta go. I'll be right back, guys. I'm coming, honey. I'm coming.
Yes, Jones, the dog bone will go on before the stripper pole. There's still a lot of work there left. We got to put a new bottom in the dog bone. It's the wooden bottom with a fiberglass coating on it, and it's rotted through from the bottom up. So I think we're going to use PVC plastic on it. Cut it to fit, weld it in there. Instead of it leaks a little bit out there, it's just all that much better. There's a lot to do out there. Like Rich was saying, there's going to be plants out there on the corners. Whatever works out. I don't think it'll have a fish ladder for a while, but I'm hoping.
Don't sound like you're entertaining people, Jerry. Awful quiet in here.
Austin McConnell says you got your priorities straight. Heard the beep and immediately dipped.
Well, I'm sorry, guys. You know, you all know that we're here.
He's complimenting.
Right. We're here hanging out with you guys. But if Tracy beeps, I have to go. You know what I'm saying? So Jerry can take over and talk. What's this here?
It's the only reason he puts up with
Oh, my goodness. Did you get this?
I didn't see that.
Catherine Black something?
Well, continue.
It don't, I can't click on it. It don't say
Oh, okay. Well, Catherine, thank you very much.
$49. Thank you,
Yeah.
Catherine. And didn't say nothing. Didn't say what she wanted heard or nothing. Thank you, Catherine. I appreciate that.
You know, there's parts of the world where it's illegal to mark something at 99.
Like $3.99.
Yeah, it's considered insulting. It's insulting a person's intelligence. It's $4, man. $3.99 is $4.
Which might as well be $5. So
Well, by now it's 20. And if you use a delivery service, it's 50.
Zach says Jerry might as well put the mermaid outfit on. Got to pay his rent this month.
You do not want to see me in a mermaid.
I love that. Lorenz Cortaz says a dirty mind is a joy forever.
Yeah, it's got to roll out of the gutter to go by, though.
Anime Lifestyle says I said good, even suck it got cut off. Sorry about that. But thank you, Catherine. Blackwell, maybe it says Black W, and I can't see the rest of it. So thank you for the $49. I appreciate that.
First super on live stream.
Yeah.
Thank you very much again.
Oh, Blake Weber says, must have missed it. How long ago did the pufferfish stop occupying the globe tank? Well, we had the pufferfish for a while, and we finally found the right home for it. Everybody wanted him, but, you know, this guy had to have him. This guy wanted him. This guy's been looking for them, you know. So we ended up giving it to him, and you got a good home. Plus, we got a tank back that we can put a bunch of fish in and not just one fish. So
And some you can. They should some of those red-eye puffers. A medium-sized puffer, and you can keep them together. They're neat. They'd go good in a planted tank too.
Judge Carlson says dog bone going on the stand next before the stripper bowl. Well, here's the problem with the dog
I
bone.
answered that.
It's sitting upright right now. What we got to do is get about 8 people here and flip it over without bending on the glass. Flip it over and set it upside down. All the wood underneath of it is rotted. It's like, half inch of wood that sits there. And then that plastic bottom that's, glued to the sides is basically relying on that wood being there. Without that wood there, there's space and the plastic bends down from the water weight. So we need that wood to be there. So we got to cut out all the old stuff and put in fresh wood everywhere. And I was thinking using polycarbonate or something that will never rot,
PVC.
PVC panels, half-inch thick, whatever.
Yeah.
Cut it out to what we need, and it'll never go bad. And
Stuff's half-inch PVC is practically bulletproof.
so now we need to do that. Then flip it back over and put it on that stand. Then we can take the next step after that is to put plant holders all the way around it, everywhere where the stand can be seen. And we don't want to drill into the stand, so I would have to take like a U channel and put it up around the stand and up into the plant holder and screw it in from that way. And then have 100% cotton rope hanging down to the water so that it can wick up the wetness needed to, feed the plants we're going to put in there, which is going to be pothos and spider plants on the corners. And
I might as well have a monster, at least one of the monster plants, the elephant ears out there.
you think?
Yeah, why not?
I mean, we can talk about it, but the point is, all the way around that now, then we can run a pump from behind where the cichlids are going to mate, pumping up into it, and an overflow running back down. And then we're good to go. So we're getting real close.
Whereas we're not going to have to chase flower pots out of the bottom of the pond no more.
Austin McGoldrick says Rich has his priority straight.
Yeah.
Heard the beep and immediately
We
dipped.
just did.
Love it. Well, Tracy matters. That's all there is to it. And you guys, if you care, would understand, and that's fine. I gotta go. I mean, it's not a big deal. It's okay. You all know we're hanging out here Friday nights. Sometimes we go, a couple hours extra. We have fun. But when real work comes in, I have to go take care of her. And my lifestyle says, how's it having a gator in the place? First time I see the gator in your place in the videos. Well, see, what you didn't see is I used to have a 3-foot American alligator here. And the Department of Agriculture showed up with the Strongsville police, the state police, the dog warden, and 4 horse trailers, and all with being pulled to take every animal I had here. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't have, they're like, you have a black panther, you have a 20-foot reticulated python. I'm like, no, you people have been looking all over my Facebook, because that was years ago, before the
history.
right, before the bans got set into place. I did have a black panther. I did have baby bears. I did have baby, lions and stuff like that. I used to sell these animals all the time. I did have different primates and stuff like that. But that's all on, do you remember the picture of the Black Panther, the little kid holding him up? Yeah. Well, that's my son. He's 6 foot tall now. He's 3 foot in the picture. That's Facebook 20 years ago. And I'm like, you guys came here with all this, come packing for everything. The only thing I got that you think is illegal is this 3-foot American alligator. They're like, yeah, you're not allowed to have it no more. And I'm like, okay, well, what do you want to do? And they're like, well, we're going to take the animal. And I'm like, no, the fuck you're not. You know, I am standing up for this animal's rights. And they're like, oh, yes, we are. And, you know, we're going to take it, and we're going to take it down to a alligator sanctuary in North Carolina. And I'm like, are you serious? And he's like, yeah, why? I'm like, because me and Josh just talked about it. He's getting big enough to where he's a little bit dangerous. And we were going to drive him down to the same, you know, sanctuary in North Carolina, you know, right by the ocean there. And he goes, yeah. I'm like, take him. I'll sign the paper, you know. I thought you were trying to kill him and this and that. And I was going to fight you 100%.
Save me the transportation.
Save me the transportation. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's all they found. They raided me for all this, and all they found was one American alligator that I was on Facebook because I bought it from RMS Pet Store, you know, 3 years earlier, $75, and this is Allie, our alligator, you know, and boom, here's Allie, our alligator, with a hair tie on her mouth, going swimming with the kids. I'm on Facebook showing all this, and it turns out after the first year I bought the alligator, the laws changed. You can have anything under 3 foot, but you can't have anything over 3 foot. The second year it changed. You can't have nothing, no alligator whatsoever, except for a dwarf caiman, and mine was an American alligator, which are so much nicer than dwarf caimans. So they were able to take it, but I was fighting them. You know, I'm facing, you know, so much fine and a year in jail, but I'm going to fight you, until they told me they're going to take it to this alligator sanctuary, where me and Josh were already thinking of taking it. So it was a win-win for me, you know. But you know what it did? It opened up channels. Now I can call Dave Hale at the Department of Agriculture and see, okay, I've got this in. It's illegal. What can I do with it? And he tells me everywhere around me that has a permit, you know, this zoo, that public aquarium, this place here, all had permits. You can take that to. I'm like, okay. And they give me 6 months with any illegal animal to find it a home. So if I get like a snakehead in, I can keep it for up to 6 months and then donate it to a place that has a permit to have them. Because these kind of permits cost like 20 grand a year, and I can't afford that.
No, I'd like to have a snakehead here just to show people exactly what one looks like. People think the bicers are snakeheads. I mean, yeah, they're not fishy people, basically, but, you know, if you're sizing up from angelfish, you're, you know, a bicer's a odd fish to look at. I don't know how many fishes have been mentioned since the last time I took a drink, but I know I got.
Oh, wait a minute. We missed something here. Bob Taylor sent 5 Ohio Fish Rescue gift memberships.
Boy, we must have
Wow.
really been
Thank you,
distracted.
Bob. Yeah.
Sorry about that, Bob. But I was backing up a ways.
Yeah.
Must have been one of them jumps. I'm gonna blame your computer. We're not that airheaded.
We're not dumb. I swear to God. Okay, how do I get back to the chat? There we go. Okay. Yeah, Ken Cummings says back in the 90s, shit was crazy what you could get. I used to have, I had a Black Panther, and I have a picture of Tracy holding it. I have a picture of my kids playing with it, and it was only like, 8 inches long. It was a baby kitten, and I had a black spike collar on him, And then we go ahead like 10 months later, and he's this 2 foot long cat with these huge 3-inch paws and huge fangs and black leopard spots all over him. And he was just like crazy. He was just like, this is the sound he made as he was eating my carpet. He'd be like, And that's what he did. He just chewed the carpet. I'm like, what is wrong with this cat? And he got bigger and bigger, and I sold him 3 times. The first 2 times they both brought him back. This thing's crazy. And I'm like, the 3rd time I sold it to a petting zoo, and they still got it to this day, to where it's in a cage. I guess you have to have. Here's the rules for it. You have to have the cage go down 15 inches in the ground and connected to the other walls. So if he digs, he cannot get a way out. He cannot burrow out. You have to have the feeding area in a slide door enclosed away from. So you can close this door. He's over there. And you can come in and do all the feeding and all the cleaning and the trays and all this stuff. And then go back out, lock it, and open up this door, and he can get to his feet. This all makes sense because now you're talking about an adult leopard, an adult black leopard, and
not socialized.
Well, no, I socialized the shit out of them, but they're
Just
still
very good.
Well, no. It don't matter how much you socialize a black panther. It's still going to be a wild cat.
Yeah.
It still needs, food, raw meat,
Yeah.
and all this stuff. And it still has its natural instinct. So if you get really upset with it and it takes a bite out of you and starts feeding on you, it's not its fault. That's what it's normally supposed to do, So
I've been bit by a jaguar.
Okay.
Took my leg out from under me. He was just playing.
My Lifestyle says, I hate when they take a pet that you raise. I got a baby gator at the pet shop when I was 9 years old, when you can just buy them without a permit. And then it got 4 foot, and I sent mine to a good zoo. Well, that's good. That's good.
Back then, anything they sold you at the pet store was called an alligator. I mean, they said sell you a baby freshwater crocodile or saltwater crocodile.
Ken Cummings says back in the
They
day
call
you
them
could get a
all
Komodo
alligators.
dragon. I would love to have one of those. Aggressive Fish Lover says, I went gone dinner. I came back to YouTube and you're still live. Okay.
Good. I agree with you. That's good. Fish.
Blake Weber says, I seen an article saying there's a bill that might make Asian arowana legal in the U.S. I could have fallen for an April Fool's joke. Have you heard anything? I have not heard anything, but let's keep our fingers crossed for sure.
So it's the only place in the world where they're illegal, isn't it?
Pretty much. Harley Gem says, was dinner pure alcohol?
The only reason they're illegal is because the government's making money off of them being illegal.
Let me do this. Click here. Click this. Now I got my clicking back. Okay.
All right.
Anima Lifestyle says, Blake, it's got to be an April Fool's joke. I just Googled it and there's no bill for owning one. Aggressive Fish Lover says,
you can go catch one.
Aggressive Fish Lover says, laughing out loud, I don't drink often and not tonight, kind of wish I was. Would have had, oh, jeez, it jumped.
Jumped again.
Would have had an excuse for my horrible typing. Okay. Brad Isaac says, I love the long Fishy Friday lives.
I had to remind us it was long.
Is it past 8? Yeah, it's past 8. Some fish, Weird Matter says, some fish can become invasive. I believe that's why some are banned.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, because, a common goldfish up here can live in the coldness of our waters. And that's why they sell, like tropical fish up here in the Northern Territories. We can get tropical fish.
Yeah.
because if they got released in the wild, they would die. Okay, that's their mentality. That's the way they think. That's the way they want things to happen. So all these, circus goldfish can live in the cold, and for one, they should be banned. Two, circuses shouldn't be giving these out as 10-cent gifts. You know what I'm saying? Because they are so hard on the ecological system. And I take in so many goldfish that are a foot long saying, I never knew it would get this big. Of course, no one tells you that. Bill Moore is here. She says, hi, Big Rich and Jerry, the Fishy family.
Hi, just about in time to say goodbye.
Almost.
Drinking word is fish. And the lifestyle wants to see videos of you in the past.
Well, with the other fish. The
They're a
other,
sucker for punishment.
no, we're talking the panther, the lions, the wolves,
Oh, you don't have videos
the
of
groundhogs.
those, do you?
Yeah, I do. Okay, plenty.
All right, well, I'm just going by what's on YouTube. I don't get into your private stash.
Ken Cummings says, what happened to the Maine Coon? We actually let Skylar take that when she moved out because,
Do you have any
everyone
choice?
knew Skylar was that cat's mother. I didn't take care of it. Skylar took care of it. I bought it for Tracy, yes, but it didn't help wake Tracy up. And then Skylar just took care of it. Skylar was in love with it. Skylar loved that cat. And I would feel bad breaking them up. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want the cat. I don't want to take care of it. So when Skylar moved out, I let her take the cat with her. So
To break that bond would have played hell with me.
it was worth it for me to buy that cat to try with Tracy, and it didn't work. And then, I made somebody else's life just completely, absolutely fantastic. She loved that cat. And they're still together to this day. She sends me pictures of that cat and her, that cat hugs her, all kinds of crazy stuff.
Remember when she started talking about the cat needed a friend? I told her to go play with the red tail.
All right, guys. Any more questions? I am out. That's horrible.
I'm not, but I got chores to go do. Chores. I can call it that, man. I go out there and watch the fish for a little while and turn off the lights. See if the behavior changes.
Well, see, here's the thing. People are like, oh, shit. What's my Fly River Turtle's name?
Hubert?
Hubert. Thank you. Let Hubert go in the big pool. I'm like, I can't. They don't understand. See, simple things, just very simple understanding that people don't know because they don't own these fish.
Yeah.
All of the catfish would at nighttime try and eat his fins off of him.
Oh yeah.
Because they don't become, territorial or hungry until nighttime. Yeah. During the day, it's fine. Hubert can swim in there and they'll never bother him. But at nighttime, catfish become active.
Yeah.
And then his fins are so soft, they will just take a whole arm off,
That's part of observation in your research. What can cohabitate with what?
So now I can't, that's just like everybody saying, oh, well, you can't put the gator in there, he'll eat all the fish. No, he won't. Because he just got transferred here, for one. Two, he's not going to eat them. He's a nighttime predator and, blah, blah, blah. Okay, in the same sense, we can't have Hubert in the pool at nighttime because all of the catfish is now time to start, eating and feeding. And, with Hubert there, he's got soft fins and they will eat his arms off. So during the daytime, it's fine. I can put Hubert in there in the daytime, and you can basically these catfish go into like a dormancy during the daytime.
Yeah, well, they're sleeping. They're
Okay.
resting now.
And you can do whatever. You can, poke them on the head. You can move their tail, and they'll just leave you be. But at nighttime, now they're on the prowl,
Yeah,
and that's a different story.
they're not
So
sure.
during the daytime, Hubert can go in there with the camera and swim all around. But I cannot leave Hubert in there at nighttime.
No, it's the same reason we can't put the bass in there. We can't. Somebody was asking today, how come we don't put the stingrays in there? At least once a month, somebody asks that.
Well, we can't put the stingrays in there because they shed their what do you want to call them?
Stinger, barb.
Stingers, barbs, whatever. And then you would walk on them, and you'd actually poke yourself in the feet with them.
That's not good for the fish either, because they can get poked by them too. That one time there was that one stuck in the tiles. Who paid hell getting that barb out of there? It was stuck in between two of the tight tiles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Poking up. That's been more than once when the stingray just take exception to a big catfish and poke him good. Bill Morris says, have a beautiful night.
Okay.
I think we were trying to say good night from watching from China, Michigan.
Okay.
I know there's a place called Deadwood in Michigan. Had to stop off there.
All right, guys. We're out of here. I'm out of alcohol. Thanks to the Vasquez family for my, drinking cup. Thank you guys. You guys rock. And Jerry don't drink, no matter how much I've tried to get him to drink with me.
Oh, he never tried. Man.
You are such a liar.
Oh, okay.
I have tried so hard.
Well, it didn't matter trying. I know.
I offered to buy anything you wanted to drink. Yeah, I offered to drink
Yeah,
with
you
you.
did that one time. You were asking me about.
Oh my God, I'm right. Holy shit.
I'm bringing my ugly stick next
You
time.
don't
Big
drink.
right hands right here, man.
You don't drink, and you tell me constantly that you won't drink, and it's your choice. So I stopped
right.
bothering you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to try to bother you. That's that's your choice. That's your thing.
I don't bother you by not smoking.
Right. See, that's the way it should be. You do you, I'll do me, and everything's fine.
If I
I
remember
tried
right, that's
getting you to drink with me. You didn't want to. I let it go.
Now, if somebody was to ship us a nice bottle of homemade mezcal, we'd sit down
You
and
would
drink.
drink? We'd have some stories to tell that night, let me tell you.
God.
I haven't seen this man drunk yet at all. Ever. It's been, what, 2.5 years you've been here?
43, well, 2.5 years I've been here, but it's been 43 years since I've been drunk.
I've heard your stories. I want to hear your drunk stories. I would appreciate that.
Yeah.
You know what he'll be like?
Foster wants to send me sterno.
He'll be like this.
That's not
He'll be
the
like,
same thing.
hey, Rich, I've told you some stories, but you know what I never told you? My drunken stories. Let me tell you what. I would like to be there for that, Jerry.
I'll give you a short preview. I nodded out in Seattle on a Friday night, and I came to Sunday night in Los Angeles on the freeway driving a Volkswagen.
Oh, you woke up driving a
I
Volkswagen?
woke up driving a Volkswagen Beetle.
Holy shit, Jerry.
Two people in the back seat
You didn't
passed
know?
out that I didn't know. It was 3 days later.
This is the stories I want to hear, Jerry. This is what I'm talking about.
It was a wild weekend.
I once woke up at Lake Ida Park in Florida. I was there, and it was like down Delray Beach Road, and my aunt lived down there, and you know, Lake Ida Park now you can get big clown knives from. You know,
Okay, yeah.
okay.
So,
But I woke up and I'm visiting Florida, and I'm visiting my aunt, and I don't know where I'm at. I wake up and I see trees, and then I look over and I see grass, and I look over and I see my clothes, and I'm in my underwear, and my clothes are over there. So I start to look around to see if anybody's there, and everyone's looking at me. I'm like, oh shit. So I get my clothes, I get my stuff back on, and I'm like, what happened? And they're telling me all this stuff that's happened and this and that. And that's the kind of stories we need to hear from you.
1969 at
Woodstock?
no, it was
Was it 1869?
no.
Isn't it the invention of the wheel?
The Deadwood, Colorado, the biker rally there.
Don't know it.
The Deadwood lead. I mean, that's where your favorite band plays.
Jackal?
Yeah,
I've never heard of it.
Sturgis.
Oh, Sturgis. Okay.
Damn, Deadwood lead, Sturgis.
Okay.
Okay, the Sturgis.
Never heard Deadwood mentioned with Sturgis,
Well,
but I
Deadwood and
believe
Lead
you.
are right there. That's the two
Okay.
state towns.
Okay, good.
Okay, my first trip there, my dad and my uncle, my godfather went together and bought me a '59 panhead,
Okay.
stripped down.
Was that a side shift? Suicide?
No,
No?
it wasn't
Okay.
jockey shift. But I rode that thing all the way from Portland, Oregon to Sturgis.
Wait. Was that your real, true feeling of a real biker?
No, don't bite me, man.
He
Anyway,
said, bite me.
that night I passed out. I was drinking and partying with everybody, you know. Yeah, and I passed out under a tree, and I was smoking a joint when I passed out, and it sat right here and burned down about
Oh,
an inch.
no
and a quarter.
way.
And I was so far out that it didn't wake me up. And the next day I took off my T-shirt, threw it away, and walked around with that big burn scar on the side.
Wait. And the next day you woke up, and beside you was a 20-inch Schwinn, not a panhead. I'm sorry, Jerry. I'm sorry.
I don't want to hear shit. However, says Jerry, what'd you do for work? I did whatever it took to get by for the next day. And
I
that's
put
the
my
way I
glasses
lived my
back on.
whole life, doing exactly what I wanted to, when I wanted to. And they had to lock me up a couple of times to stop me, but anyway, we're way past now.
Yeah, we are. Shauna says, I nominate Dirty Minds Rules next Friday's drinking phrase. Well, Dirty Minds by Dirty Little Minds by Jackal rocks.
Dirty little mind.
Wondering what Jerry was like in his 20s. We just got done with the story. He rode around a 20-inch bicycle, thought it was a panhead, woke up drunk on some mezcal, thought he was in a biker gang. I'm sorry,
I
Jerry.
wasn't
I'm
20
sorry.
yet. 3 months after that, I went to the penitentiary. Spent
Oh,
the next
shit.
2 years in the penitentiary. So that's another story.
Vasquez family says, hide the stripper pole.
I was
Jerry's
only
talking about drinking.
I was only 19 when I went to Sturgis.
All right, guys. Thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you. It's so much fun for me every Friday. I love hanging out with you guys. It was an amazing time. Thank you so much.
It's
We're,
been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure.
Hey, this is the most info we've gotten out of you on a Friday night, though. You know, you actually talked about your past and stuff. You've never done that before.
Well, let's just not have such a common word to drink.
We can't have fish no more as a drinking word because it gets us all too drunk. All right, guys, we love you. You take care. I'll see you next Friday. Remember, next Friday we're going to be here. Okay.
Travel well.
I'll see you then.
Stay fishy.
Stay fishy. Oh my goodness.